Yeah, guys, today's challenge is like you can see we are developing one application that is related to e-commerce. Okay, and the thing is like if you can see my screen, we have developed one user controller, one entity, and one service. That is a normal like we have developed. And in one method, like we are fetching all the users, we are adding the users. Only two methods is there as of now. Okay, we'll develop later also. And in controller layer, same, like we are fetching all the users and we are creating the users. And if you can see in the postman, like in the get in the postman, we are adding the user. So if you can see I have not given any id here. Id is not there. But if we'll send, you can see user added successfully. Okay, and if we are getting the users, you can see, so what we are getting, id is null, first name last name we are getting. Okay, and if we'll see here, id, we are in the entity layer, we are passing the id, first name last name. So can you tell, like anyone can tell how we can rectify this kind of error in the through the code, like through the backend we want to handle this kind of error. So if anyone knows, you can tell this how we can identify this. So the first thing how we can make the count of the id is like in service layer we can have the private long next id is equal to 1n. Okay, and private list of user, fetch all users. And in this one, because here we are adding the user, right? So here we can make the count of user dot set id next id plus plus. So by this way we can see. So here what we can do, instead of returning the list of user, we can just return the void, and then here we can remove this return one. And then we can run this application and we can see whether this application is running successfully or not. So now you can see application started successfully. And if you go to postman, you rerun this, because we restarted, there is no such user. Okay, first we are going to create the user in the postman. See here, there is no id is not there. If we'll hit there, user added successfully. If you go to get, send id, it's counting. Go to post, again hit. Now you can see second time user got added, means it's keeping the count of the id now this time. And suppose while creating the user, if we'll pass the id from the here, like id okay, and suppose you are passing here some random number like 2000, and if we send this, so user added successfully means user got created. But if we'll get that ID, so you can see you are getting ID as a 3, not as a 2000. It means here in the code it's keeping the count of the ID. Like in user service, this one is keeping the count of the ID, and it's getting overridden by this one. See, there is a concept of path variable. So when you come to controller, there is a, if you want to fetch the only the particular ID, suppose in the URL you are opening the Flipkart, okay, and you are searching any product. Suppose this is the something that is a curtain holder is there, okay. Let's take this table cover, okay, and in the URL you can see after the slash there is some extra, like after slash there is some extra part is there, you can see. So whatever it's coming as a dynamic, if we'll remove this dynamic part, there is no such product is not there. So in that case what you can do, so if we'll come to get mapping, if we'll add here slash ID, it means whatever users is there, if you're fetching any kind of ID, in the ID it will come like this, get users slash any kind of a user ID, it will be coming as a like that. So it will be like any kind of extra piece of value whenever you are adding in the URL, it will be coming as a path variable. And how you have to add in the coding part, so here if you're adding here ID, here you have to give @path variable long ID, then it's going to fetch from there. Now we are going to fetch the user in the user controller. In this API user, we have to return the fetch user and then ID. Now this method is not there in the user service, method is not there. This method, it should be present in the user service, because see here we are returning from the fetch user. So if you come to this one, then you type public, directly you can create from there also, public user, or what you can do, you can go there, extract method. Which user is there, or else you can copy this, which user, paste this which user, long id, and then you can pass here so now you will come to postman, and instead of this id, like you can give to this id if it's a path variable. So instead of this id, you can give to 1. This one. So now we are going to fetch the user. Here you can see in controller layer we are fetching the user here, fetch user by id. So we don't have this method, so we have created the same method in the user service. We are going to pass here for loop. For loop user list user dot get id, user dot get id. Side. So it is going to return the user. And we are going to return here null. Now we can check it's running or not. So you can see you can get the user. So first because there is no user is not there, so first we'll create the user added successfully. Now we will try to get the users. So you can see this user is coming. See, now in this case response entity we are not getting as usual, like we are getting, when you will see this one in this controller. So here if you'll see the response, like it's not about the, like it's not customizable. So in Spring Boot there is a one concept that is a response entity concept. So basically that response entity, it will give you to wrap that response. So here you can see that like list of user is there, here get user is there, and here create user is there. So when you will use the response entity, like it will come in a consistency in the code. So you can use here public. So if you see response entity, so it's coming from the Spring Boot. You just select, click your tab, so public response entity, then you can give the list of user, list of user. Okay, and then you can return here. Because it's a object type, so return new response entity. Then user service dot reach all users, and then here you can give the HTTP status. HTTP status dot okay. So like that you can give, and here also you can give response entity, new response entity, and then you can wrap your response into this. And if you are feeling this is very long, so there is one another way you can do like this: return response entity, dot okay, and directly you can wrap this response. So there is a two ways there you can use like that. See, now I'm going to run this. So we have customized on the get mapping, okay, and when we'll see in Postman, it will get this. You can see 200 okay, and in Postman it will create user added successfully. So like this 200 0. So here if we'll in the code, if we'll change the HTTP status not found, because now we are having the control over the response, which response we want. So if we'll send this, now we have customized this. It will go to Postman. So by default it's a 200 okay, and if we'll go there, first you will get the response. You need to check what response you are getting. So you can see have we started this. First we will run this application. Application got started. Now come. So now you can see to not okay is there. You just create the response. User added successfully. Suppose we have given their ID. You can see here path mapping is there, and here also path mapping is there. If we'll remove this path mapping, then send this. See, because we have customized there like 404 not found, and still we are getting the response. And if we'll go there in the post one, you can see user added successfully, but the response is 404 not found. So but it's not good because we are getting response and we are not adding, so we will give as a okay. So now this is the correct way to. So now we'll go to get mapping, this ID one. So what you can do here, you can response entity user, get user, and then you can wrap this return response entity dot okay. User service dot fetch user. And for last one, post mapping also same. The string we will not keep, we will keep as a response entity. Return type as a string. Create user. Return response entity. If you run this, return response entity dot okay. User created successfully or added successfully. So now what I have done, I have done just I have used the user service and fetching the user ID, and if the ID is not present, like if ID is null, then it will be returning the response entity not found. Only this much I have done. So now I am restarting my application. Application got restarted. Will come. Now this time this user we are getting, and no, for get, like we, if suppose for path parameter, if we are getting 3 user, so if it's not, user is not there because we have not created the user ID with the 3, so we will get the user not found. And for in the post, it's there. So in this one, if we'll see this, now how we are processing, like we are using the for loop, but we should not use like this. This is not a good practice to do the coding. So what you can do, you just remove that, and instead of that you can just return the user list. Like we are going to use the Java 8 feature, so you can use the user list dot stream dot filter user dot get id dot equals id dot find first. Okay, so this is kind of a find first, so it's going to return the optional So here what we can do, we can make it a optional user. So this method basically it's present in the, this is a user service now. The same method it's present in the controller class. So there also it's getting the problem, and here we have to fix this. And in this one, instead of this, because here also we have to return the same optional, so what we can do, we will just remove this and we can return the user service dot fetch user, and here it will be passing the ID. Here we will use the map the response entity. Okay, and then if that ID is not present, then we have to use the or else get response entity not found. Okay, so we'll just run and we'll see. So in this video we have learned the how the APIs will be created, how the endpoints it will be working, the postman, how the response entity, by using the response entity we can make the consistency of the code. So in the next video we'll see the things like how we are getting converted to the monolithic to the microservices. We can use the PostgreSQL, and then we will continue.